Are we live? As always, making sure the technology is working. I always get a bit nervous, but I can. All depends on internet. There we go. I think we're live now, aren't we? Yes, got all the pink buttons up. Okay, then. So welcome back to evening five, session five. It's flown in, to be honest with you. What 1 minute I was just thinking about it, and now we've had 5 nights in a row, and it's been very interactive. It's been very lively, and it's been a lot of fun. And I've enjoyed talking to a lot of you behind the scenes, in between times as well. So I see some of you are just jumping on there to say hello. Let me know that you're watching, or let me know any comments you have. Anybody's been on this week. We've had a few. We've had like a core group of regulars, which has been great. So, but the questions have all been good, and even last night, I felt like a lot of you were now starting to think about this in a more serious way. So, and a lot of us, I think took it was a bit of an information overload. But if you take it, it's like everything, if you take it seriously and keep pushing ahead with it. Hi, Sarah. Nice to see you on. Then it can work out very well, and it can be something that you just add to your current job and build up part time. Or it's just something you can keep part time because you have a passion or a hobby. This is definitely something I've enjoyed doing, and it's allowed me to use the technology to explore other hobbies and interests of mine as well. So, if anybody knows me, they'll know I've been through the comedy route for about 7 years. I've gone down the coaching route, which now I can add coach to my title, but that's been going on about 12 years. But I also have a practitioner. Hola, Sarah. And so let me look at other bits and pieces as well as travel, which has been the main advantage. So, but I've always been gathering up information, and I was showing on Monday night some of the books and things I've read, and just it's just something. If you've got an interest, you'll just keep up, absorbing and soaking up information about it. So, I was showing just as some of you haven't been on. This is where it all started here with these big folders. These were the Curry Roodle days, the insider secrets, and there's two big folders of those. Something like $200 or something, but it was something you had to go through yourself. And there were CDs. Unfortunately, Corey passed away. I'd started up in 2001, just 19 years ago. But Corey passed away in 2005. I got to meet him. He was kind of my, I set the intention to do it. I didn't know what I was doing. I only had GCSE, computer studies, and A level. You couldn't do any courses in digital marketing or internet marketing, internet business. It was 1999. And Corey decided to come over from America because he'd been really running his own business and set up a UK, side of things. He didn't want to keep flying back. I think it was just after 9/11 actually. And he just said, I want to work with some UK partners and get more into the European market. So when he passed away in 2005 in a really bad car accident, Derek Gale took over and revamped the course. Now it's a little bit thinner, but a lot of things were then you could log in online, technology had started to move forward. So he was kind of like the founder of ebooks and was involved in a lot of buying up little companies and putting all the technology together to make one big product, So Juan Carlos is saying, I want to be rich and not work. Fantastic. That is music to my ears. And I will be giving you more information about to do that in the second half of tonight. And then I'm going to invite anybody who wants to, just so you know what tonight's about, anybody wants to take it further, then join me afterwards. We'll have a bit of what we've been doing closest to going to the bar. If you've got a drink or an orange juice or a cup of tea, come and join us afterwards and, just ask questions about what you can do in 3 days. The 3 days will be starting on Monday. But you've got the next couple of days is going to catch up on the last 4 sessions, and I've got additional information. So you'll be rare and really well, really well prepared for Monday and to get going. But I thought it out today, and things have been coming to me all week, I've just been conking out at night, going to sleep and waking up thinking, I've been doing a lot of stuff in my sleep, but I don't know, what way my brain's been working everything. Before we get kicked off as well, you can see some people are still coming on. I found this today, my first ever website, the press release. So this was back in 2002, was it? Let me just double check the back of it. Yeah, 2002. So just the year after I started in November 2001. And there's my first ever website. You can see it there. There's me. This guy here had just come back from America, wanted to do this guy's website. This was a bistro deli butcher. He's actually a butcher by trade, but he heard about the internet. He wanted a website, and they Patty had said to him, "Yes, I'll help you with it. I'm just back from America and I know about this." So when I contacted them about working with them, they said, "No, no, Patty's got it in hand." And I said, "Well, can I talk to Patty because I might be able to partner with them and in some future projects." So when I contacted Patty, he says, "No, I'm just back. I know nothing. I just want to use this as a project to get going on." This is fantastic. Let's do it. So it became a bit of a partnership. And Paddy then went on to do other stuff. He went more into the more techie side of IT. Um, but it was just lovely to work with somebody on my very first project and then build up my graphic designers and things. And I also have my award I won for under 30s. What year was this one? 2004 then, so a few years later, the local council had run a competition through Shell Livewire and our local enterprise development agency, what's it called? Go for it. So yes, anybody under 30. So my local council put me forward. Got to meet Prince Andrew, which probably isn't a claim to fame now, unfortunately, but he came to the annual garden party at Hillsborough Castle. And because I'd won this for the area then. So yes, that was me. That's me with blonde hair, in case you think that's not her. And I was still married at the stage, so I was under my married name. So yeah, 2004. So just giving you some proof that I do know what I'm talking about. And then the last one was I started helping people write books in marketing leads. So we started up this group. We called ourselves the Novel Idea, but it actually came from a class with creative writing, how to write a book if you're not a writer. And this lady here, Teresa, she actually got us featured on BBC, on BBC One. So they came to interview me and the rest of the class, and we were being shown every night after EastEnders, between after the before and after of EastEnders, and people were messaging me and saying, "Did I just see you sitting on a desk, teaching?" And that's what it was. So yeah, so this got me interested in ebooks, and copywriting and the importance of that. So those are, I'm just pulling those out today. I've scanned them to put them on my website. Still haven't finished my own website, guys, but that'll be my project. Don't worry. It's better to help you guys than more about my website and have it all singing, all dancing. But that's the whole point, in that you don't have to have it finished, because some of you have already signed up with me to work with me, which is fantastic this week. And obviously there's a few more then. I'll tell you about that closer to the end of this session. So first of all, any questions? Is anybody who's been on during the week, anybody who's missed any of the sessions wants to know what they've missed? I can give a quick synopsis. Let me know what sort of moods you're in. Is it just another Friday in the lockdown and you can't go out, so you're here? So just say hello as well. Let us know that you're on. There's not a problem. But anything internet business related, even if it's just a general question, even if it's something you're just stuck at the moment, or if it's just something you just thought, you know what, I'll check it out. That's fine. But just, let us know how you're getting on. You might as well get and as much as you can out of this. So we talked about, we did talk about physical products, actually selling, and that's more practical through Amazon these days, but you can still set it up yourself, not touch the products or have the products shipped to you. But the key there, as I said, is getting the products sold before you actually even buy them, if you can. So there's a way to do that. So that's something we would look at in the 3 days. We'd also look at information products, digital products, online courses, ebooks, video series, MP3s, podcasts. We've talked about all those this week. And we've also talked about, I've got a wee summary of everything here as well. We've covered about YouTube. We talked about membership websites, affiliate marketing, Amazon's one of the big players in that at the moment. You can sign up for their associate program and advertise some of their products. And when somebody clicks on it and goes through to buy, you'll actually, a lot of people do it on their Facebook pages. They'll recommend a book. And if you go through and buy, they'll get 15% of the book, for the recommendation. So Amazon has that all tracked. Another thing that's important, that's something we'll be kicking off the 3 days with. Hiya, Fiona. Nice to see you. Thanks for the hearts. Feeling the love on the wee paw. Let me just double check I've got all the comments, because sometimes I miss. There we go. I've got them to the bottom. They scroll up so fast sometimes. Yeah, with electrical or electronic projects, with electronic products, then it's known what to produce. And we can look at that in terms of your own interest. I have questions. I actually have a 24 question survey for you, as a questionnaire in terms of mindset. And basically designed to get you thinking, but also to get your thinking working behind the scenes as well. So your mind is not holding you back. It's like your mind, your brain, and your business are all going the same direction, and one's not working against the other. It's amazing how much sabotage can kick in. I used to see that happen quite a bit before I became a coach myself and understood that way of things. Hi, Claire. Nice to see you on. Nice to see you back. Um, Claire's been very interactive in the last few nights as well with her business and learning loads, haven't you, Claire? You've been between you, Esther and Sarah. There's Fiona waving back at you. I love a wee dog, Fiona. So yeah, just recapping, Claire, you haven't missed any of the PR stuff I'm going to cover tonight just yet. But I was just saying about electronic products. Yeah, that's sometimes just the quickest way to get started. Just pick something that you're interested in, whether it was to do with cars, whether it's to do with, fitness, with food, things like that. But it's what you could do if you had 3 days to make it happen next week, then this is the perfect time. And if you're still in lockdown, I know some of these are going back to work now in the UK, but it's, it's something that you've got the time and space to deal with. But even if you don't do it in 3 days, the information you're going to have, even if you stretch it out to 5 or 6, it's like you're shooting for the moon and landing among the stars, So if you take that approach to it, think about what pain you've had in your life that you could share. We've all got something where we've all gone through some sort of obstacles and learned a lot in the process. And we don't realize just how valuable that information is. I was probably going about 7 years when my divorce hit, and I got to the stage because the business had been associated with my marriage. I couldn't even look at anything to do with internet marketing. But it kind of served me at the time because that made me look at coaching, which got me more into the mindset of things because my mindset was all over the place. As you can imagine, if anybody's been through that sort of thing or a really bad relationship breakup, a long-term relationship breakup, because it is like a loss, like a grieving process. But it's one that you can grow from, learn from. You'll never learn it in any book or any class. But even going through that, like some people were asking me about relationship problems, and I'm like, but I'm going through a divorce. And they're like, yeah, but you now know what it's, you now know the process and things like that. So people instantly saw me as an expert in that area. So when they came to me as a for Reiki or things like that, or come to my groups, I was teaching meditation, I was teaching Reiki, I was doing a bit of life coaching as well. And that's something I sort of wanted to get into, but it was a change from the computers and a bit more softer and another way of connecting with people. And I realized then after a few years, I realized that was actually what was missing. I'd been running the internet marketing consultancy on two wheels, the physical and the mental, but I still felt empty. Do you ever have that where everybody said, "Oh, you're done so well, you're so successful"? Claire, you missed all the PR shots I showed back in the day, 2004. And I won an award. But even though I was in the paper and I was winning these awards and things like that, there was an emptiness inside of me and I couldn't understand it. I thought, what on earth is this about? And if this is success, well, it's not really nice. It doesn't feel good. But it was because I was missing two wheels on my car. I didn't have my emotional and I didn't have my spiritual. And I don't mean spiritual in terms of religious beliefs. That's fine. Whatever you want to call the higher universal energy, whether you want to call it God or Allah or the universe, or whatever, call it Terry if you have to. Or your CEO. I talk to a lot of people who, I've worked with agnostics and atheists, and they're like, so what do I do here? With a lot of business guys, I work with their inner CEO, and that's like their inner being, their intuition. I'm working with that and say, well, what is James, your CEO? They usually give it a name, and we work with it that way. So it's whatever works, and it's kind of the same online as well. Whatever the market's looking for, whatever you're interested in, and it's whatever your goals are in terms of, do you just want to pay off some big debts? Do you want to pay off your mortgage? You've got a few people who want to do that. Actually, Claire listened to some of my Facebook Lives last year, didn't you? And ended up, she said it was tough at the start, but you got your mortgage paid off, didn't you? Or you started on that road with it because you hadn't even, a lot of people don't think of that. They just think, I have to work 40, 50 years of my life and then I'll be sorted. But it's amazing. Yeah, because we were talking about, when my marriage ended, I had been property investing and a lot of stuff, for doing the houses up with tiles and carpet and paint. Well, my husband and I had just split it, between our credit cards. And I ended up with 40 grand of it over 3 cards. And there was not a single thing for me. And it was all related to this, to these houses and renting them out. Yes, it's all away. Fantastic. Yes. No, I didn't know that until you said the other night that you'd actually got it done with. So, but that was, that was part of my, after the marriage broke up, I started to learn more about the mindset And I left with that 40 grand of debt, and I thought, and I was getting wee jibes about it from my ex. He was just like, "Oh, you'll never get a mortgage without me. You'll end up in a shack of a house and blah blah blah." And I was like, "Right, okay, challenge accepted." But it was the debt. Oh yes, yes, in Belfast. That's right. That's right. I know. Isn't it funny? And you never know. That's with the beauty of it. You do not know what you're doing. I say to people all the time, they tell me their product ideas and their business ideas, and I say, "There's people waiting for that," and you don't know what impact you're going to have in people's lives until you actually do it. And that's what prompted me, I suppose, this week. I just thought, well, do you know what? If I can change a few people's lives, and make a difference, then it's been a good week. Out of how many weeks that have been so heavy with us. But yeah, I'd be pleased to know then it took me on a bit of a journey that way. I ended up following my property strategy because I invested money at the time to learn from some really high profile and property investors. I want to take money from the internet and put it into property. So I had a bit of a diversification going on. So there was a bigger picture at play for me, and that was my motivation to keep me going. But 11 months later, and I kept visualizing myself writing the checks for the different for the cards that I had it on for the different debt, and I paid it all off. And I had cash to spare. I actually had. I was going for 40. It was 39,000 whatever. So I rounded it up to 40,000. But I think we're sitting now taking a snapshot or a thing of the bank statement at the time. But put it this way, I had enough then to pay off that to buy a Land Rover, a top of the range one of the first 1,500. Apparently, I came into Northern Ireland, and it was because I had blacked out windows. Pimp my ride, and I had enough then to live on for a year if I wanted to. If I wanted to take time off, but I didn't, because there was other things going on at that time. So I think it was to the tune of about 93. So I'd gone for 40 and ended up with 93, and that was just because I set the intention, and that's part of what I'm trying to pass on to you guys. I'm not saying these things to try and say, "Oh, wasn't she great?" But it's just like this is the power of the mind, and it's Brian Declare here. You're actually living proof that you took a couple of the snippets. We had that conversation, and you just went to work on it. She found a way to make it happen. So I'm delighted when you said the other night, because I had no idea you hadn't actually had told me the outcome. But no, it was similar to what I had done. I think that's what started off with that. I wasn't going to be lumbered with this debt. I just thought, you know what? And I haven't had a credit card since. I have one there and just in case. And I've tried to build up my credit again. And in the end, I've just given up because it's just like, it's one of those things. It's a bit of a long, drawn out process. And I thought, if I can find other ways of earning the money, then I don't need a credit card. And if I don't have it, I can't spend it. But one of the things I'll be teaching you as well in the 3 day or any program, and if you're working with it, even if you're just working on, some people just book me for once a month and have it, have that consultancy session. And there's a bit of mindset and even energy work that goes on with that. So it's not just the physical and the mental. You will get the emotional and spiritual thrown in there, sometimes whether you like it or not. But I had a guy coming from a very, he was in a 6-figure business, way over the 500,000 mark, but hit crossroads where he was so fed up and tired of the business and wanted to move forward. And he'd seen me doing a talk at an enterprise, like a business day down just over the border, and he thought to himself, that girl that knows, it was all about mind hacks. That's what it was. It was all about, mind hacks and things like that. And I picked out something in the audience and kind of did a wee bit of energy reading and showed him where he was stuck. And this guy was just like, this is me, I'm stuck. So we ended up working together for 3 months, and it was all things that were unresolved within him. And it didn't matter what this guy kept doing. He kept hitting going into the cul-de-sacs in his life. His marriage was fine, but he says, I am worried. He confided that in me, but there was different things going on with his wife as well. So there was all these things happening, and he had all these plates in the air, and he was just panicking. He says, I don't want to do this, but I can't throw it away because the business provides, obviously a great lifestyle for them, and he's got the bills and all to go with it. So we had a look at it, and we found out that there was things, just different events that happened in around his late teens, just with friends and things like that. And it's amazing what happens to us, and we think nothing of it. We just think, well, that was pretty hurtful, or, well, I'm never going to speak to that person again, or whatever. And then we move on, and we don't realize that something in there. And the key to his business moving forward was working with another guy, but he learned not to trust friends and trust people in general, because of what had happened. And it was just, I happened to ask the right coaching question at the time. I said, well, why wouldn't you work with this guy? And he says, well, it's going to cost me over 100 grand. It turns out he actually ended up saving 100 grand by working with this person. And it was just that one question over the 3 months that, well, it was within the first 3 weeks. And then for the rest of the time we were working together, everything just flowed. And I had a wee sneaky peek at them recently there. And the two of them are very much, they're still working together. So, this is the sort of thing, you get that sort of customer satisfaction. You can't put a price on it really at the end of the day. That's the thing. So Claire was saying mine was a bit of shuffling funds too. I emptied savings to the kids and paid it off and I paid it back into them again. Saved a lot in bank interest. Yes, that's fantastic. I know it's amazing when we put our mind to something, because I thought I am not being saddled with this debt, because to me having that 40 grand, and maybe I should have taken the rest of the money and put it into a mortgage myself. But I've been reading up on property investing so much. I was always like, never pay off your mortgage, if you don't have to. There's that's a whole different conversation there. Never buy a house. Basically, the own house that you live in, rent it, and buy the other houses to rent out. Okay, and that's a whole different thing. If you want to find out more about that, Robert Kiyosaki, Grant Cardone, and his wife Elena Cardone, they're all about building your empire, and they do it through property and online stuff as well. But very inspirational, guys. They're all about X10, and everything times 10. I've only got into those guys in the last few months, but worth checking out. If you like this is the sort of stuff I like to do first thing mornings, get up and listen to some of those guys and what they're doing, and get my mindset and insight sometimes as well. Insight, mindset. I suppose it is. You're getting those insights into your mind, and that sometimes can be just sitting with a cup of tea and letting it all come in, or going to, having a shower or working out, whatever it is that's going to shift your energy a bit. So we go. I didn't mean to get into all that, but it's just like, there's more that goes on, rather than just clicking this button, setting up a web page and doing that. Because I've worked at things at times and they're just not moving. And then sometimes realize there's a block within me and it's manifesting outside of me. And then it's amazing how quickly you just, once you shift it or come to that epiphany, and then everything starts moving again and the creativity starts moving. And creativity is a big part of all this, coming up with creative solutions for your customers. So I talked about your hobbies, your interests, your passions. What do you actually love to learn about? Because I realized I had a passion, believe it or not, for IT. Love the creativity of marketing, and bringing the two together was a very yin and yang thing for me. And even now, after 19 years, I'm still as passionate about it, because the industry keeps changing. I love change. I thrive on change. um, because it's inevitable, it's going to happen. And a lot of fear, is based on that reluctance to change, because they're trying to control everything and they don't want to move forward into the future. But think about, I was talking about the tragedies, the triumphs that you've had in life. What have you learned from them? How could you help other people with that? What information could you package together, or what products can you package together for that? What other people are out there doing it? And the good news is, if other people are out there doing it, and have just an ebook or a course on it, chances are there's a market. They're doing it because they're actually earning money from it. If you think yourself, when you get into something new, you don't usually just buy one course or one book. You usually go and buy 3 or 4, especially, I don't know, for example, cookbooks. If you're decided, right, I'm going to go vegetarian, you're going to buy about 3 or 4 books, and get more rounded, in our mind, the psychology of it, we get a more rounded approach to it in that sense. But what are you passionate about, and what areas would you love to get more into? There's people out there. I've listened to so many stories. One guy was told by his father, "You're never going to be a musician. It's never going to happen. You're never going to earn enough money to do that. Go being a musician. You need to get a proper job." So he did. He went and got a corporate job that he hated, but he wanted to prove to his dad, if I earned enough money and can financially retire, then I can sit around and play my guitar and my instruments in my underwear, and there's nothing you can do about it. And that's exactly what he ended up doing. But he did it through the internet. He decided, through the corporate job, he just thought, I can't handle this, and he went to a talk. I heard about something, and next thing, bing, he was on and he just did 3 webinars. He just picked one channel and just decided, well, I can talk, I can use the PowerPoint slides, and he picked products that he liked and was interested in. I think, yeah, he's big interest in golf, and went into that area, and just uses one channel. So that's something I'm going to talk about as well. Picking your product, picking your channel, and then what way you want to, to put yourself, what way you want to bring that information to people. Yeah. So think about what obstacles you've had to face that maybe can give you a clue and how you've got through it. Okay. Just making sure the comments. Yeah. So this is bringing up any questions. Anything with mindset or business, just far away. But I can feel you're all listening intently. There's definitely a more serious energy tonight, but that's good. So yeah, so if you're a budding writer, if you're a budding artist, like a lot of people who are artistic are doing a lot of YouTube tutorials, whether it's actual art. There's a guy teaching. I saw him the other day with a Facebook ad. He's actually oh, there she is. Talk about we're all well behaved. Your Tesco delivery just arrived. Oh, great! You must have remembered your password. Claire says you're still listening. That's good. So yes, maybe you want to deliver workshops online, bring people to a Facebook page or to the website or into a Zoom session. Or maybe you want to do services or, help people with something. You can provide a service and do it for them or do it with them or give them a self-study, so anything else. Not much, Hester. We're just talking about just recapping on the last 4 nights about working together for 3 days next week to really bring everything together. I was thinking of you of this as well because I thought you've got a lot of things going on. So if we get it all focused down into one product to start with at least, one channel that you market it through, and the one message, you can do that over the 3 days. And if you get that right, the money starts coming in. So, but I'm going to talk about that more towards the end. But Claire's saying there, how do you make webinars pay? So that's a good question. Let's look at that quickly because that could be something, that could work very well for you because of the nature, with the, I'm trying to think what it is, play professor, isn't it? With the science aspect with kids. So it's like a PowerPoint presentation. So if you don't really want to sit like this and be seen as such, and it is hard to do this because I've had to do my infamous pie chart and things like that, where I could make it all nice and sexy and put it on a PowerPoint and have it in 3D, like I do my website and my Facebook page. You can't even give a web address out, because you can't see it. I'd have to write it down. But that's all right. It's just making the connection initially. So with webinars, you do a presentation and then there's a call to action at the end of it. So you're saying, for tonight only, there's an offer of X, Y, Z. And if you sign up tonight or tomorrow, I'll give you these bonuses and da 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 da. And it's usually towards some sort of program or electronic product in some way. Usually it's worthwhile doing for anything. Oops, sorry about that. We're not having an earthquake, don't worry. I think I've experienced 2 earthquakes here, just minor ones. And they lasted like 10 seconds and it's like 3 on the Richter scale, so nothing too traumatic. So yes, so then it puts people, it's just making people aware, but then it's recruiting people to get them on to the webinar and that side of things, and then choosing the right software. But it's quite a simple strategy. The guy I was talking about earlier, the musician with the golfing, that's all he learned. He just thought, well, do you know what? I'm a salesman by trade as such or whatever. So he says, I know how to sell. And he worked out a good way. Well, it's obviously testing, as I always say, test and tweak. Everything's test and tweak till you get the right formula. And he was the same. He just found a layout or format that worked. And then he tried it with different products and it worked for him. So it could be yours is a little bit different. It could be yours could be the same as him. I've got notes from that guy. Everybody watch, I've got I record the screen, so even though they say, oh, this replay's only up for 3 days or whatever, I've taken a recording of it. And I've got a backup there of all these, so I can dip back into them because it's the only way I learn is through webinars. I can't really buy books and this stuff and learn because it just changes so much. You've been looking at other people's blogs, never did anything like before. It's like learning all over. Good. That's does you no harm, Esther. But it's something practical. And I suppose that's me. Maybe that's the Virgo in me as such. I like things, if it's going to give you exercise, but might as well be practical. So, if you're going to do exercise, do dancing because it's something, it's good to move the body in that sense, or cycling because it takes you somewhere and you get to see other places that you wouldn't normally see if you were driving. And even at school, I was playing hockey for a couple of years in the school hockey team. I got fed up just going out on a Saturday morning, having cold legs, purple legs in the cold. You're getting whacked with hockey sticks, even if you had shin pads on. The other team, the other school, it's usually another all-girls school, so they're all bitchy to each other. And I just thought, I've had enough of this. What else can I do on a Saturday morning? And I found jiu-jitsu. And then I thought to myself, well, that's actually good because it's fitness and it's 3 sessions that a week. It's like you're burning 1,500 calories in just one, like 1 2 hour class of martial arts because all the throws and all that. But it teaches you self defense and teaches that confidence, and it's muscle memory as well. Because years on, I can still remember some of the moves and some of the bits and pieces that we had to do. So things like that are fun and interesting, but there's a practical side to it, and I suppose that's what's led me down the coaching route as well. And meditation, is there anything in meditation? And the results I've personally had, then I have to teach this because if it's helping me, it's going to help other people. And I've seen people's lives transform, over the last, well, definitely over the last 19 years. But even from me, the person I was, the person back, Esther, you missed my funky press releases. It was my first ever website. And me there with the blonde hair, and Patty that helped me. And this is the guy that we did the website for. We worked together. But the person I was back then, I was so green and wet, and behind the ears, as the saying goes. Didn't really have an idea what I was doing. Only had my GCSE and my A level, but I was being paid to learn. People come to me and say, right, I need this and this, and I go to the developers I was working with and say, right, what's this about? And I would learn the techie talk for them. So I would talk tech language to them, and then go and talk plain English to the customer. But I got to know quick straight away, and then I would educate the customers as well, saying, okay, we can do this a better way for you, or we can make this more effective, or we can automate a lot of your processes, and so I became a tech nerd without having to be an actual techie. I just got to know the technology and the language of it all, and then how to be the middle woman in that sense. And because I was a woman in IT, running an IT business, I was like one of 3 businesses. I constantly got these press releases done, free publicity. That was the award Esther was talking about earlier. But that's, the amount of people who phone me from the local area. Because you find in the smaller towns, that wouldn't, if I was in the bigger city, like Londonderry or Derry, depending on what side you're from, Belfast, or even if you're in London, that would only be a drop in the ocean, but when you're in a smaller town, and the little villages and stuff and that, then people tend to be more procreal, don't they? They tend to support their own. So I was in between, in between two. They made them cities. There's Newry City and there's now Lisburn City, and I was in this country market town, but like the one I grew up in. You're saying, "Oh wow, I wonder what you like." Oh, you can go through my Facebook and you'll see loads of blonde pictures. But no, then I suppose that's just part of the journey and where I've been, and the IT side of it's always been there because technology's always been there. And always will be for the foreseeable future. It's caused so much. I like to think it's caused more good than bad. I know obviously there's bad things happen on the internet, and there's a dark side of the internet itself, but there's more good can come from it, to help people. So yes, we were going to talk about the PR aspects. I felt we talked enough about social media in terms of the demographics, and how to get your email addresses. That was a good chunk of last night as well. So I made a list here on my phone. I've been working every day, believe it or not, from the minute I wake up this week. No way, did Jim jump on? Where is he? I didn't see him there. So I can't see until afterwards. I can't really see who's joined us. I wonder if Sarah sent him the application form. Let me just get this. Yeah, so throughout the day I'm making notes and I'm letting the creative process work for me, so I can give a nice fresh presentation to you guys. So let me just see here where I put this list on my phone. I was typing it all out, and I even screenshotted it just in case I deleted it by mistake. I should have just written it down. Wouldn't that have been easier? Hang on, it's here. It is here somewhere. Oh, here we go. Yes. So if you've got pen and pencils, so these is where when you're doing a blog and maybe you've come across something you want to write about and it's got a great response, and Jim just Jim sneaked in there. How are you, Jim? Nice to have you on. That's a different Jim. That's not our Jim from the other night. This is Jim McDowell. How are you? Sorry, no, who you are now. Wrong Jim, but nice to have you on. I can never have too many Jims. So yes, when you're writing a blog or there's something at a different angle, if you can link your product or service, what you do into the release of a new movie and things like that. I've heard all sort of weird and wonderful and fantastic creative strategies. Huffington Post is very good. They're very approachable, very open, as long as it's, it's at a high level. But if you watch them and what sort of articles they produce, so that's one of them is Huffington Post. I think I talked about that the other night. I've also got visitpr.com. Okay, so again, I can't put these on a slide. I'll just have to tell you them manually. But that reviews different PR sites, and different PR sites will come in. PR agencies will look and take your article, and maybe use it to. I mean, this is something you could even do as a job: is go in and find different things and talk about it on your podcast. There's if you're into your podcast, Joe Rogan, Joerogan. He just talks about he's more a male orientated audience, but he's kind of like the Oprah Winfrey of his podcast in terms of he just talks about different things that he thinks are interesting, or funny, or can make a difference in your life in some way. And he's built up a huge following. I think he was one of the earliest, one of the earlier sort of podcasts to get going. But he also does it by YouTube, so you can actually see him talking to his microphone, and he'll have the screen split, and he's talking to somebody else. Okay, so Joe Rogan's very good just how he does it. We've also got prweb.com. Okay. And then we've got pressbox.com. So some of these are picked up, believe it or not, by the Sun, by the Daily Mirror, by the Daily Mail. We've got the Sunday Times as well. Let's see, I'm just making me notes here. Oh, one for you, Esther. The Homes and Gardens magazines are different industry magazines like Homes and Gardens and House Beautiful. So those would all be relevant. Anybody interested in the house is usually has an interest in the garden, but then you've got the garden fanatics, as well. So yes, pressbox.com. Then we've got a free site, but again, it mightn't be picked up unless it hits the right topic. prlog.org. Okay, you can have a look at that. This is just once you've got something going, something of interest, but it was just to give you this wanted to give you something tasty tonight. issuewire.com. Okay, issue ISSUE wire as in WIRE.com. We've got newswiretoday.com. And some people have got like half page spreads and papers and things and didn't have to pay for it. It's just their subject was spot on at the time. It was relevant. Oh, I just noticed my phone isn't charging for some reason. Oh, there's it now. And then the last one on the list here, and BBC Radio, sorry, I forgot to mention them. I didn't put it here, but I just remembered that it was on the notes. So this one's www.24 and hyphen, the wee dash 7, 24 hyphen 7, and then all one word, so 24 hyphen 7 pressrelease.com. Just sites you can look at and maybe get inspired by some of the other articles that you've seen. Or there could be people, Esther mentioned last night about the interviewing people on your blog or podcast. I think you were more talking about the blog. And this is where you could find people. If somebody has, if you're the person helping the expert, as I said, you can be the expert or you can be the person helping the expert. And if you see an expert and want to bring them to your followers, or maybe get some of their followers interested in you, because if somebody's been interviewed, they're going to make a comment about it somewhere. And suddenly then your name gets known, you can hashtag it with that person on it. I don't know what's going on here. I think is it just me? Do you find that charging cables never last so long? This one here I think is knackered. It's trying to charge, but it's not. But anyway, I have enough battery in it but we've got just over 20 minutes. So yeah, so that's those are press release submission sites. So check those out. Now I think we were talking about sales funnels. Can anybody remember? I think we mentioned it briefly, but we didn't have to talk about it properly. But I wanted to go into that. It's a big area, and there's people out there who are just dedicated to teaching sales funnels. And in a nutshell, it's basically a sales process. So it's just how we talked about that. We have talked about parts of it. So we talked about a lead magnet, okay? And it would be important if we were, like somebody said, we got 3 days to make money online and get this amount. If somebody came and said to me, if I'd known what I'd known in the 11 months that I got that, when I had that 40 grand of debt, and if somebody told me I'd be paying it off 11 months later, I'd be like, no, it's going to take me a couple of years. But now that I know what I know, I could do it a lot quicker. I haven't really had the motivation and inspiration to do that because I don't have that amount of debt anymore. So it's not that I'm lazy, but I'm kind of half and half. You know, I'm like the person who will work hard, work my butt off when I have to, and you won't see me for days. But then it's time to take the pedal off and take your foot off the pedal. That's what I'm trying to say. Unless you talk about gardens, talking about petals, and take your foot off the pedal and just chill out, and maybe pay for a trip or whatever, and stuff like that. But unless if somebody came to me and said my kid needs 80 grand, blah blah, I was like, well, I don't actually maybe have it lurking around, but here's how we can get it in a short space of time, and I think most of us, especially with banks, the one thing that scared me about banks quite a few years ago was Ulster Bank in Northern Ireland. And you don't think it would ever happen, but it really made me think about money and these people who everybody imagines that they'll have 50, 100 grand, or millionaires have like 500,000 in the bank. And when you listen to what they talk about and what they say, they don't actually. They know how to liquefy their assets. They put all their money. Grant Cardone is so good, he makes it so easy to understand because he says money's useless unless you actually use it for something. And the Ulster Bank, I don't know if any of you can remember it, Claire, and with the Ulster and Jim. The Ulster Bank just lost everybody's money. Nobody could withdraw their money for like 3 or 4 days. I've told people in England this and they just laughed. They're like, no way. This is, there was people who just couldn't access their money. They got their wages paid, but their bank accounts, I can't remember, but there was a bit more to it than what was going on. They said it was a computer error or a system breakdown or something, but I think it was more to do financially, like something wiped out in the background financially, and because they take your money, your money just doesn't sit there like that. They use your money and put it into different investments. So, and it's a bit like, if you want to get into all that side of things, what do you call that? The Burton Group, Dorothy Perkins, Top Man, Top Shop, and all that group of companies. They're all PLCs. They basically take all the money on the Saturday night and put it in the stock market on the Monday morning. And that's how they operate. They're there selling clothes, but it's only to give them funds to work in the stock market. McDonald's, it's all about property. They just build property, McDonald's in prime property locations. Now something happened to McDonald's and they had to shut down for whatever reason, and they just started to not do well. But going by the amount of TikToks and people saying they're missing McDonald's, and I was like, oh, boke. There's people even making Big Mac pizzas. I just like, what is the world coming to? They're actually putting like burger meat and onions and the gherkin and the burger sauce and what do you call that? The square cheese, the processed cheesy crap you get. Good Lord. But anyway, yeah, but there's obviously a market and these people are saying that, and that's what I love about it. So yes, sales funnels, get yourself familiar with these. I mentioned Russell Brunson the other night with that book, Expert Secrets. But sales funnels have become a thing now in terms of, you've probably all experienced one where you go to put your name and email address into one. No problem, Jim. It's nice to have you pop in. Okay. Nice to say hello. Let's see, have a good weekend. So you probably put your name and email address into something, and then you've received a free ebook and things like that. Then you might get some follow-up emails, and then you might get offered a product of some sort if you act now. So that's kind of the whole sales funnel process, but it goes right from the start, from getting your name and email address right through to you buying. And then it continues on. They have an after sales funnel where they look after you and make sure you're all right, and maybe send out a survey and things like that. So that's what's called a sales funnel, and it's very important to be aware of them, because different sales funnels can make all the difference to your business. And again, there's that many now. There's so many templates out there. And that's when I'm working with people, I'll say, don't go and learn how to copyright and don't learn how to do this. I've got the templates. I've developed all those myself. So I can hand you that over and say, there you go. There's your sales page copy, or here's this and here's that. So that's what it's all about, making your life easier. So you're wondering, how can we do it in 3 days? Well, we can do it in 3 days when we've got the models that work and the sales funnels that work. And, all you have to do is maybe get the PDF together. But if you only need 10 pages for a freebie, for a lead magnet, to give people something for free and of value, to get their email address, because that email address is the gold. Okay. Claire saying yesterday, I remembered the bank. Yeah, there was a computer issue. I remember they blamed it on the computers, but it didn't feel, from a computer point of view, I'm like myself, this sounds sus. Esther is saying, you've been watching gardening programs. Yes, fantastic. You thought about gnomes, making them fun, like Stephen Brown art. I don't know Stephen Brown, but Mr. and Mrs. McGnome and the Weens. Oh yes, like a collection, like what do you call them? Civilian families and those wee rabbit characters and stuff, isn't there? We see things like that, and it's fun. And if there's some maybe educational element to it, or if it's just it's it's a fun thing to have in your garden or something like that. You know, it all appeals, isn't it? Especially the you know, I like the fact like no one wings. But they could have neighbors, they could have pets, they could have a mushroom house. You could again, as I said last night, I think I said that, isn't it? It's the only limit your imagination. Um, okay, then so yes, sales funnels. So you always start off with because I did say I'd talk about social media tonight, the bit that we didn't talk about this week, because we did talk about it quite a bit in every evening session. So when you identify what social media platform has got your audience, you know, that's a bit of testing to do that. Whether it's Facebook, Google, Instagram, then you lead them all to a landing page, or sometimes people call it a squeeze page. But basically, they'll put their name and address in, you know, to get this freebie thing from you. And then you can, even at that point, you can say, you know, if you're interested in this, why not upgrade today, or why not get the bigger report or the bigger course on it at this price? And you're upselling them there and then. Exactly the way McDonald's do. If they're not willing to do that's fine. You'll be able to see that the software that you know is out there tracks that for you. But you can also build your own. I've worked out how to do it with WordPress sites because of their plugins. Their plugins are very good. Then when they do actually come to buy, you know, you get to the point where they're buying, then you can upsell them again. So it's kind of like the McDonald's model in terms of, you know, do you want a extra large or um extra fries or whatever. So you get your sales page offer and then you upsell them and then you come back with more information. So there's always an alternate thing going on when you're emailing people, that you give them some free information, then you sell them, because giving them the free, you know yourself, when somebody gives something free, there's a feeling of obligation here all of a sudden. It's like I'm gonna have to give something away. Or what do I have to give back? So they're hoping that you'll reciprocate well, it is, it's a law of reciprocity, isn't it? Um, and if something they're genuinely interested, don't remember, as I said, you can't say the wrong thing to the right people. Okay. Yes, making gardening fun. Well, see, maybe that's what it is. Maybe there's kids now as part of the lockdown, have maybe been out and about helping their parents in the garden, or the kids, you know, maybe that's been part of the homeschooling. It's just like, you know what, let's get these kids outside just to give the house a break, and making gardening fun for them. So and I can't think of anything offhand. I know there's Alan Titchmarsh, you know, was making gardening more, um, he was making it more informative, you know, and Charlie Dimmock and his gang. And they started making, well, their concept was making your garden a room on the outside, which was a good idea, because then you know, when we have the weather. But yes, making gardens fun, because I used to help my grandfather, and you know, he was always digging up potatoes and carrots and things like that, and he'd grown at my mum's. But the deal was, my mum had the garden and the space for it, so he would grow them and tend to them, look after them when he was there, and then take some away for his own use, you know. So, but people have allotments, and if the younger generation don't want to do the garden, those allotments are going to waste, and usually they're paid for extra, and people have to pay to have an allotment. From my knowledge. So Claire's saying, for gardening, look into ostrich ferns. They have edible fiddles. It's a big craze in the USA. They're native to here and can be valuable to chefs. Oh, right, okay. Edible fiddles. You say you just don't know what's out there until you go looking. But it's like, you know, when you buy a new car and you buy a certain color, and you buy a certain make, and next thing, boom, um, yo Jimbo, is that Lisa Dunlop? You've just missed him. He gives a very polite, a very polite bye there. He had to head on. Nice to see you, Lisa. Is that Lisa? Wee wheels on. Do you know Jim as well? Is that the same Lisa? Yeah, it is the same Lisa. Right. So yeah, so that's sales funnels. Okay, so that's as about as technical as I'm going to get tonight with that side of things. I talked about the press release, and then so who here feels they've got enough of the basics now? You know, for the use that have been on every night. Who feels you got enough of the basics to actually do something now, or got thinking more seriously about it? Is there anybody confident enough in that? Or maybe it's made your mind more scrambled. Esther, you seem to be taking baby steps, but still making steps forward there. And Claire, I think it's giving you a lot of homework, isn't it, with your business to move things forward? Okay. see, make sure I'm getting all the comments through here. Yeah. I'm maybe just giving you something to think about, and that's okay. That's just the main thing. It's just giving you an insight as to what's involved. Some of it does sound very, I can understand. I know IT is one of those areas that people are petrified, and a lot of people are just like, sometimes just like, do you know what? I understand what you're saying, but just tell me, what I need to do, and I'll get somebody else to do it. I'm doing a Zoom session with Eden Project and Cool Gardening, not this Tuesday, but next Tuesday. Okay. So there's a bit of a collaboration going on there with you and Esther, maybe. You can add each other on Facebook. Sarah said she finds it so interesting and informative. That's good. Thank you, Sarah. Somebody answered the question. That's what I understand. Is sometimes when I've been speaking, maybe a room of 50 people, and ask the end any questions, and everybody's just sitting there, and afterwards, it's almost like, as soon as I sit down, or as soon as the whole session's over, and there've been other speakers, people are coming up to me and they're like, oh my God, or they're getting messages a day later, a week later, things like that. Just like, I was just taking it all in the time. They've gone into wee trance. But that's good, because it's expanding. Your mind's expanding then. As you're saying, she's taking notes. One giant leap for mankind. Yes, you've been an Armstrong as well. We must be related. With you being Scottish and me being Irish, there has to be a family link there. So basically, yes, for 3 days. And if it's just something you want to try on your own, you don't have to work with me. It'd be lovely to work with you. But you don't have to. There's no obligation in that sense. But I do work with your mindset, as I said, and I've given you some of that. Oh, that's good, Claire. That's very heartwarming to know. If Claire's the only one that follows my advice, well, I know Sarah has as well. Because Sarah and I've been working with each other off and on anyway. And Claire says she do new things every day. Well, say I like to learn new things every day. I like to go into my wee app and do Duolingo. And I thought I was doing really well because I try to build up a consistency. So I try to get like 14, 15-day streaks. And then something lapses. And I think I got up to 31 one time or 32. And there's a guy posting Facebook today. He's got 500-day streak on Spanish and Duolingo. And I was like, so that's made me think, do you know what? If I can get to 100 at least, so it's given me a new target now because I was just sticking around the 30 mark. Claire saying today was making comments on similar business pages with lots of followers. Oh, good. Good, that's good. You followed that. See, that's something simple. And it's amazing what you do. Sometimes my friends have phoned me just because they're having a bad day and stuff like that. And I was working with somebody the other night and, they're talking about their stuff. And I said, you know what, you talk, I listen. But sometimes I work better when I'm doing something consciously. And then let the subconscious work, or sometimes just to listen. And I was just basically sitting inviting people to, a couple of my pages and things, or doing the mundane stuff. And I was still listening and still doing what I was doing, or looking up keywords and things like that. That's what you're just saying there, Claire. You've also been listening hashtags. Yeah, just get an Excel sheet. Start looking up hashtags, start looking up keywords, and then, you'll know the hashtags to go for. 100 to 150 sounds so many because you think yourself, I only need about a dozen hashtags or keywords. But if you keep refreshing that list, it'll keep bringing new ideas as well. Because suddenly you'll see a word that's maybe 120 on your list. If you're doing it in an Excel sheet, they'll all have their wee numbers beside them. And then, because then you can start cross-pollination with the words as well. And this is where you come up with new ideas, new angles, and then your blog becomes more interesting because you're thinking, well, what if I took the scientific side of this and mixed it up with something to do with mud and water, or something to do with gardening. I suppose that's what you're doing next week, but then there's more from that, and there's a lot of cross-pollination, and this is how creativity works. It's putting things that normally wouldn't be associated together. And Sarah was saying the other night she was interested how, you were asking your questions, and then I was able to say, well, if you do this and this, but because I've worked in it so long, to me, it was just automatic. The neurons have already connected. So if somebody gives me a business idea and things like that, I can start going into a process that's well ingrained in my brain and say, well, yeah, this could do this and this, this and this. It's a bit like comedians, we suddenly start to see all the links between different aspects, so somebody mentions that and we know a joke about this and we can bring it together and make it something else. You start to think in a whole different way. You have a passion for languages. Learning Espanol, got my book out. Well, getting the book out is good, but you need to open it, Esther. But no, that Duolingo app is very good. And if you've got Amazon Prime, they've launched their Great Courses channel. That's another place to do research. Amazon Prime and things like that. There's a lot of people out there so interested in different movies and followings for movies, like the Hunger Games, Twilight, and things like that. but the great courses, it has French and Spanish. They've got piano, guitars. I can only remember the ones I've signed up for, but it's an extra £5 a month, and it's actually a professor of Spanish. Like he actually teaches Spanish, and I know, but he gave me all the history of the Spanish language, which is interesting. And I didn't realize there was such a South African influence in Spain. The original Spanish were actually blonde and blue eyed, and then a lot of South African, Moroccan and Algeria, they came up, and then had I think they were the Moors. There was an invasion, and this is where Spanish then became more dark skinned with the brown eyes. So I had no clue. I had no, I know England of all that. I was just like, wow. And any words in Spanish begin with A, B are actually from that influence. There's an Arabic, that's from the Arabic connection. So there's an Arabic influence in Spain as well. But then there's a big Spanish influence in the Philippines as well. So it's interesting. It's all, all new stuff. So yeah, so your 3 days. So we've talked about the different type of models and setting up where you can make your money. So Claire's asking there about webinars. So if you just stuck with webinars, picked one product and one channel or platform to promote that on, boom, there you go. That's what you need to do. And you just perfect yourself as a speaker. Do you keep track of how many times you use hashtags? Okay, so that's a separate sheet. Yes. Yes is the answer. Excuse me. And then where you're getting the most responses, you need a separate sheet to say, so you list anywhere you advertise or put yourself, get very anal retentive about it in terms of, it is interesting to know. I know, I just thought this is nice to know. I know a lot of Irish history, it's nice to know the Spanish history and English history. So yes, the sheet, you're listing all the sites, anywhere you've got to know, even if somebody's picked you up and put a link back to you, because you'll be able, there's free, so much free stuff out there. And there's different sites where you'll actually save from your stats as well. The other sites are pointing into you, and you're like, oh, I didn't know they were linked to me. But when you go and look at them and see what they've written about you, and sometimes they just pick you up and think, oh, that sounds interesting for my readers. And they don't tell you that they're doing it. They don't have any obligation to do it. They're just doing it out of interest of what you're doing. But your stats will show you that, show you that coming through. List that as well, and then and you're constantly monitoring them. It becomes a bit of a numbers game, but this is where a lot of people who run websites and web businesses will say, well, it only takes me 2 hours a day, because they're checking the amount of stats and the visitors, and then they're counting their money. So that's why it only takes 2 hours a day to run a business, because the system's set up, they've got a well-oiled machine, and then they're just using the stats and everything to keep everything ticking over. And once my granddad used to say, if you know your numbers, you can rule the world, but maybe not the whole world, maybe just, I think you need a virus to do that. But if you know your own numbers in terms of your own online world as such, then yes, you can rule that. You can have that niche and totally corner it. Love history. Yeah, no, I had a choice between history and geography, and I went the history route. And I love the Egyptians. There was something about that, and the Greeks, ancient Greeks, and how, weren't they the first ones for the Olympics? I remember something having to draw out the Olympic rings. So yes, I'm all about history as well. Hold on, just take a wee sip. It's only water, Esther, before you accuse me of being on the gin already. So yes, so choosing your method as such, how you're going to put yourself across, whether it's a webinar, whether it's through your blog, through a website, or just reporting different things. You're the person reporting and helping the expert, or doing Facebook Lives like this and using your videos, or just creating your own videos. Used to be that you had to have over 10,000 or something like that subscribed to a YouTube channel before you could do a YouTube live. Starting to mix my words now. It seems to be that anybody can do a YouTube live once you've verified the channel, and you can upload videos longer than 15. So you need to verify the channel first, I think, through your number, your mobile number. But it used to be you needed like a high number of subscribers before they let you do a Facebook Live. And then you choose but basically you have to find out where your people are. Oops, hang on, my window has jumped here. There we go. So yes, the 4 questions I asked at the start of the week, defining your niche and finding that out. You read my mind, see? So finding out what your niche is, where the people in this niche hang out, how you can get to them, and what problem are they having, or what problems. But pick one problem, okay? Then on your second day, you're looking at solving that problem and developing the solution to that problem. Okay. Whether it's a physical product or electronic one or a service of some sort, mentoring, training, things like that. And then the third day, then you're finding out, we talked about that last night, communicating your message, which last night, and then using that channel to reach your audience. So it's very simple when you take it to that point of view, okay? But that's something you can achieve in 3 days. And that's what I'm saying, you can do it the easy way, where you can work with somebody like myself who's already done that, and there's no obligation to do that. That's not why I'm on here to pitch that. But there's also something you want to genuinely learn it yourself and go through the trenches, roll up your sleeves, get your hands dirty and do it, then great. And you can always come back to me at any time. My door's always open. Sometimes people just book me for an hour and pick my brain. It's just like, right, what do you see? What do you think? Blah, 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 blah. And because I know the tools and things, I can nip in and say, right, in 5 minutes, and say, right, there's so many people a month looking for this. But look, there's this new thing on the market. Did you know about this? And things like that. So, but there's lots of experts out there as well. And you might actually find an internet marketing expert in your field. So they're ones to look out for as well. But what I would say to you, if you did give yourself like a 3-day challenge to do it yourself, once you learn it and it works and you've got that money coming in, then you can do it multiple times. Okay, so you can do it 10, 12, 20, 50 times. What is it you want to do with it? Do you want to pay off the debt the way I wanted to back in the day? Do you want to earn money from it and part-time? Do you want to replace your job? Do you want to get out of your job, or just want to have your own business and be back in control of your own finances? No matter what you're doing, always think to yourself, if you find a niche market and you find that they have a problem, they're waiting for your product. And it's a good mindset to have as well as a business owner and an entrepreneur. It's like, yeah, there's people out there waiting for this. I just haven't found them yet. You just haven't connected. So trust that gut instinct. I saw something this morning and I wish I'd actually written it down. It was more or less saying if something looks right but feels wrong, that's your intuition helping you. Okay. But if something looks wrong but feels right, that's fear. If something looks wrong but feels right, that's your intuition. Okay, so it's knowing the difference between fear, because I've always been trying to describe between fear and intuition. So something looks right, but feels wrong, it's fear. So something's that fear, that feeling is pushing you away from it for a reason. Your intuition will always, like, something looks wrong. It seems like, you're trying to make a decision, and I always end up as the more risky one. Seems to be the one to go for. So it kind of looks wrong from the outside, but inside it feels right. And you trust that intuition and go for it, and trust that. And businesses are getting more intuitive these days. They are, business owners are getting more in touch with their own self, their own purpose, and making that, heart to mind connection. And then surrounding yourself by like-minded people, because the idea now I want to do is realize, well, if I have more people who are actually interested in this stuff and want to make money online, they're the type of people I want to hang out with more. But it's not something, this is something I actually tried to do. It must have been my mindset. It must have been just wrong environment, because when I was living in England, I just could not get things off the ground. Things that were running like a clockwork in Northern Ireland were fine. Go to England and everything's just not working. And I'm like, what is going on? And I was really questioning myself about a lot of things. And then once I settled in Spain, after about 6 months, everything just started to happen. And I'm just like, but again, it must have been something, had to shift. I had to be in the right environment. I had to be the right energy. But I feel now with the lockdown, I've seen a lot of people now who've been doing the same are suddenly now, some just clicking for them and they're going for it. So yes, so surrounding yourself with like-minded people who will push you on, encourage you, and not become that typical expert that the people you used to meet in the bar whenever we were allowed to be in bars. You said you're going for a mortgage, somebody will pipe up and say, oh yeah, well, I got a mortgage with so-and-so, blah, blah, blah. Or if you got, going for a new car, well, if you go to this garage and tell them I sent you, suddenly everybody becomes an expert in everything. So it's keeping the right people around you and that positivity, being fed. Yeah, and then part of what I offer as well, you've always got me an email, you've always got the coaching sessions as well. I'm always going to be doing Facebook Lives and information sessions to help people. And if it's something that's, if you're stuck at, I like a challenge. I love a challenge. I eat challenges for breakfast, I always say. So you've got something where you're stuck and it's just not happening. we can either have the group look at it and all come out from the same place, or we've got that extra part there, knowing how the mind and the subconscious work. Meditation is the best way to get into the subconscious mind and get the answer straight away. So sometimes we need to still the mind and put the panic and the fear to one side. Fear can be good when it's used to, because when people start to get angry, it's because they're masking a fear. So we can get in there and get the fear out, and then suddenly they start to see things a lot more clearly. What's Esther saying? I have the fear factor. My intuition stops me in my tracks. It's not your intuition stopping you. It's the fear. It's the fear stopping you, Esther. But I know what you mean. Yeah, it's good to know the difference. It's like I had a bit of a sore shoulder today, and I think to myself, this is coming from outside of me. I knew it wasn't my sore shoulder, so I picked it up from somebody. So I identified, but it turned out I'd been talking to him a couple of days ago, so I got it then, and it'd been off and on, and then it just today, I started talking to him on the phone. I was like, you're the one with the sore shoulder. It's like, how do you know? I was like, yeah. So I managed to get that cleared. So yeah, it's wee things like that, that's sort of awareness that we need, at all different levels. So I hope that's been useful for you. I'm so glad you sort of jumped on, and it's so nice to have such a great bunch of very switched on and informative people. I think I've successfully hit the right crowd. It's a small but powerful crowd as well. But I noticed some people are watching the replays and then commenting or making a few sending me a few messages and things. So that's fine as well. Something just popped up there. Somebody sent me a message already on Facebook about something. So that's that. So thank you so much. If you do want to talk to me about having the 3-day challenge or looking at for yourself, or even if you just want to take an outline for it and work on it, that's something we can do. There's not a problem. It's whatever works for you. I'm happy to work with. But thank you for letting me share all this with you. Thank you for coming back and the fact that you just came back consistently shows that you're ready. You've got the basics for success, because you just keep showing up. And what does they say? 80 or 90% of success is showing up. So thank you. It's been a lovely week interacting with you and getting to know you a bit better and helping you with some of your questions as well. Alrighty, I will let you enjoy the rest of your Friday night. If any questions, just fire them over to me. And I'm not talking to you over the weekend, I'll no doubt, hopefully, cross paths with you as well. Thank you, Sarah. Okay. So night. Look after yourself. Stay safe.